Hey, so
Hello.
welcome to the Soul Speaks Tea Talk session. I have my tea in the corner. It's already cold, but that's all right. I have a special guest with me for today's interview, and her name is Kiarra Dunn. Yeah, if you don't mind just starting off with a little introduction of who you are and, something special
Yes.
about you.
Yeah, so my name, as Soul said, is Kiarra Dunn. I am from Virginia, Richmond, Virginia area. I live in New York now and have the last 3 years. I am a teacher, speaker, model, and practitioner. And I absolutely love doing every single one of those things. Those things that I just mentioned aren't labels, those are actually genuine fragments of my identity, and I fucking love it. Especially the speaker part. So I'm really glad to be here. Thank you so much for having me, Soul.
Of course, of course. I'm so glad to have you today, and thank you so much for your time.
Yes.
Honestly, the way that we were gonna have this conversation, I was telling Kiara, like, it's gonna go how it's gonna go. I don't know how it's gonna go, but it's just gonna go. It's gonna flow as authentic as possible. But let's just get started.
Yes.
Well, I know that one of the questions that I had mentioned, just so we can have something to go off of, was basically how do you feel like the government and societal infrastructures today have affected the way that women and as well as LGBT peeps, as my perspective for that as
Mm-hmm.
well,
Mm-hmm.
um, have felt like they were silenced or unable to really embody and harness the powers that we were naturally given from
Mm-hmm.
birth since we
Mm-hmm.
were children.
Ooh, it's crazy you
And
bring that up. I literally have a symbol on my hand for that. I'm not sure if you could see it that well, but I just had to say that because that's crazy.
for
It's like a little
real,
swirl specifically on your left hand. When you put symbolism on your left hand, especially a swirl, it symbolizes the innate abilities that you're born with. I did it intuitively yesterday, and then I Googled it today because I was like, what's the symbolism? And it's exactly what you're saying.
are you
Hello.
serious?
Yeah, I'm so
I
serious.
There's literally a symbol that's like a hand and it has a swirl in the middle too. I want to look into that. That's
Yep.
awesome.
We're
Yeah.
here. We're here. We're here. I knew it. See? Yeah, that's
But
alignment.
yeah, I would like to hear what you have to say about that.
Yeah, so the infrastructure, this system, capitalism, America, it's literally inherently built off of harvesting from us, from all of us, especially women and queer folks. Um, their lack of resources, the foundational philosophy of what capitalism represents is the antithesis of humanity in general. Humanity is meant to flow, but capitalism and the infrastructures, the systems within the United States creates this blockage where things become rigid, people become scared, and not just scared of external dangers, but scared of themselves. And so I've just seen the ways, especially being in New York City, especially being in a city, period, you see the ways in which these systemic falls impact our community. I've seen it in the way that it fragments our communities. It impacts us at an individual level, yes, but I've seen the ways in which I've watched my peers, queer or even women, lose themselves because they forgot how to be out of just the sense of being neglected, dismissed, bullied out of it, whatever it is, their fight, their spirit was broken. And as much as sometimes I'll be like, damn, you're being complacent. It's a hard place to be in because at the same time I understand that people break. And that's one of the biggest things I've seen in the ways in which these systems impact us as women and queer people. It's impacted me just seeing the division and knowing that it's not fully our fault and knowing there's genuinely only so much you can do before you get lost. I've seen it firsthand and it's sad. It's sad.
Yeah, it is honestly, it's really sad. Just because I can even tell from, if you guys don't already know, I was living in the shelter system between LA and New York from around August until I would say April. And honestly, experiencing that and alone in itself has been a journey.
Yeah.
And not only was it like a journey of human experimentation, as I was the experiment, literally going through that process
Yeah.
and observing how it changed me as a person and how it changed the way that I even view the world and have an
Yeah.
understanding of as to why people act the way that they do. Because seeing everybody up in there, the way that they maneuvered around their own lives and treated their own lives
Yeah.
was it was very, very scary because it was in a way where the shelter system will almost make you act directly in enforcement or in coercion under the system that they want us to live because that is what
Yeah.
they tell you that is going to be successful. That's what they
Yep.
tell you. This is how you're going to get a house. If
Yep.
you do this, this, and this and that. And if you do
Yep.
anything other than that, then you'll either
Then you're
get kicked
fucked.
out, then you're either not going to get a house, you get
Right.
delayed, you'll be, put on a longer wait list where they
Right.
have a lot more people waiting because of the fact that you may have barriers to getting income or getting employment or whatever it may
Right.
be. And there's another part of that too, where people have either, illnesses, chronic illness, they have chronic pain, they have specific disabilities, and whether or not the system actually wants to assist you in that, because not everybody gets approved for disability. I was actually trying to get in disability because of the fact that I have had and struggled with autism, which again, I have, had this whole conversation and this whole debate about, oh, I don't really have autism for real. It's just like I have superpowers. But in reality, in
But there's a
reality,
cost. There's a cost to those powers for sure.
yes, and it
There's a
don't
cost
work
to
in
those
this
powers.
society. Yeah. So it's like to
Yeah.
everybody else, it's like, oh, no, you have this. So me trying to
Yeah.
actually fight for that diagnosis has been a lifelong struggle. And for people like that,
Yeah.
I had to wait. There's like a whole wait list to even get disability because you have to
Yeah.
see a therapist or a psychiatrist and get consistent
Yep.
treatment for a whole year before you ever get disability, which is
Yep.
ridiculous. So even if
Yep.
I wanted to go down that route because of my barriers, sorry for the wind,
Mhm.
it's still difficult and it's
Yeah.
still like I couldn't do it. And so then I was still left back to square one.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's hard. It's so hard. And I see why people give up on themselves, why people run to drugs, why
Yeah.
people run to self-soothing mechanisms because they don't give a fuck. They
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah. Yeah. They don't. And the thing is, they don't hide it either. Like I want to piggyback off of your point also of speaking about, the mental health system as well. So last year around this time, I was beaten and framed and put in a psych ward. And even though I'm not gonna lie, I genuinely wasn't supposed to be there. Like even the doctors were like, "What are you doing here, girl?" And I was like, "Well, I was framed, but not gonna lie, I'll chill here for a second because that was a very traumatic thing. I'd never been beaten before." So when I was in there, it was really interesting because even though I had a blast because I made it fun and I talked to every motherfucker in there, awful. The way that the majority of the doctors and nurses treated my peers in there, fucking awful. Even just from the start, they would set me apart and be, you know, because you already know you're fine, don't talk to them. You shouldn't be talking to them. They're not your friends. I said, yes, the fuck they are. Because you know what? When I was sitting there by myself, they welcomed me. They called me over and said, "What you doing in here, girl?" They're able to solve conflicts with me better than some motherfuckers out here in the streets. They listen. There was respect. There was radical acceptance between me and my peers in that psych ward. And it was necessary, and it's what kept us sane. It's what kept us believing in ourselves because we didn't have those doctors and those nurses believing in us. I literally, when I went, we had something called a panel where they kind of evaluate you and where you're at. I was helping I mentioned that, put a pin in that. I was helping one of my peers in there. Her name was Miss Brenda. She was an elder. I was helping her get her medicine because she was just very anxious and stuff like that. And I noticed she did better when someone was just standing there right beside her. One of the doctors looks and is like, "Well, have you been taking your medicine?" And I was like, "Well, if you were listening during my panel and didn't fall asleep," because he fell like this, literally, literally.
Wow.
I said, if you were listening and didn't fall asleep, you'd know that I'm actually not on meds because y'all came to the conclusion there's nothing wrong with me. I just smoke a lot of weed. Oop, still do. Fuck. But it was just really interesting because even when I went to, address that lapse in professionalism, the other doctors tried to gaslight me. It took me, God bless this man, it took me having to speak to my social worker who had noticed the same thing. And he was like, I'm really glad you brought this to me because I did notice that. I wasn't sure if you did, and I didn't want to trigger you bringing it up. But since you noticed it, yes, I'm going to validate you. He did fall asleep. Why was everyone else acting like that didn't happen then? I'm actively in a psych ward because y'all think I'm crazy, but then you're gaslighting me? And then on top of that, they were obsessed with trying to diagnose me with BPD. I have autism and ADHD. But the fact that I didn't tell them that, I kept that to myself because I knew that they wouldn't treat me well. I saw the way that they spoke to the other people, the way that they handled them, the way that they would call them crazy, the way that they would be surprised when they were speaking clearly and coherently. And I said, you're only surprised because you don't engage with these people. You are literally handling these people's lives. You're literally supposed to be helping these people, redirecting them towards peace, towards stabilization, because it genuinely is possible. And you're just here for a check, and it's obvious. It's obvious. So honestly, your experience with all those barriers with getting diagnosed and things like that, I completely understand because the system, specifically the mental health that we're talking about, the mental health system was not built for people of color, was not built for women, was not built for queer people, was not built for humans. Period, point blank. It just wasn't. And I see it. And I'm not going to take away from the few good apples that are in that field, but those are a few good apples. It's the system that has a problem.
For sure. And I definitely agree. I definitely agree with this statement will just even give the like the message. Like my mom tried to put me and try to figure out what was going on with me since I was a little kid. And what they told me or what they told the doctors or her was that I had behavioral issues. That's what they try to put me on, and they try to really anchor that in. And they gave me medication that made me act like a zombie. And my mom took me off of the medication, but I was still set apart in class because I was misbehaving, and they put me specifically with the special needs kids, which is a whole, I hate the word that they say special needs, but they put me with those children in school and in classes, and they set me apart for majority of my adolescence, especially in school, but they still would never claim that I had autism. They will never claim that I had any other like issue that was directly related also to what my mom went through as well, because that
Yeah.
is generational. That just
Yeah.
gets passed down. So that
Yeah.
in itself just tells you alone, like, it's not built for us. And I
Yeah.
still haven't been able to get accurate diagnoses. They try to call me borderline, and they try to say I had schizophrenic episodes. I was like, y'all, I don't know where y'all getting this shit from, but
Halftime, they don't even
okay.
know you. They literally don't even know you.
No, they don't. They don't. But I
Like,
totally agree with you, and I'm so sorry that you was gaslit and you was lied to multiple times because that don't even make sense. It don't even make sense. That's the thing that these people in power and in place meant to
mm-hmm.
actually advocate and act to do their job
Yeah.
will not do their job
Yeah.
because I don't know. I
They
can't.
they don't do their job, but I will say, as unfortunate as it was, in situations like that, I'll be hurt about what I'm experiencing, but I can't help but remember that I'm not the only one experiencing it. And so
Literally.
I got really lucky. I actually met a there was a Black Panther in there. Her name is Miss Taylor.
Are you
Yeah.
serious?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I'm
so
so
cool.
serious. I'm so serious. And she was in there because she's so funny. She was like, "You know why I'm in here?" And I was like, "Why?" And she was like, "They've been trying to steal my brownstone for years. They've been trying to get the deed to my brownstone for years. And you know what I did? I flooded the bitch." And then they said I'm crazy. And she said, "But you know what? I've been watching you, watching me." Because I was watching her with something about her energy. I was so intimidated, but I also was so enthralled. So enthralled. This was before I knew she was a Black Panther. I just would watch her. She'd be humming jazz by the window.
Mm.
And like, how could you not be like head over heels? Like, come on. I literally was like, wow, you're awesome. You're an amazing person. And she told me, she said, they used to have advocates in the psych wards. They used to have a whole position for that, for
Mm.
people that got to advocate for the folks that were navigating the psych ward system.
Wow.
And when she told me that, it inspired me because I was like, you know what? I genuinely feel like God, the universe, whoever you subscribe to, I genuinely was like, I think you put me here to do a job. And even though I'm not getting paid, this is some shit I love. And so from there, I met the lawyer that would come in every day. And I spoke with her, asked about the rules and boundaries of the place, found out there was a lot of shit that they were doing wrong. They were
Mm.
supposed to give us papers when we were admitted, explaining why and things like that. No one got that. No one got that. They were supposed to give you a rundown of how to understand how to navigate and eventually get out of there because they have people in there that have been there for like 5 months because they don't tell you that there's a way that you can get out early because I ended up getting out early. The minimum to stay there is 15 days. I
Mm-hmm.
was able to get out in 7.
Damn.
And so when I found out all that information from the lawyer, not only did I start a coup because them doctors and nurses was pissing me off. I got everybody in that bitch pissed off because one thing I'm gonna do when the authorities aren't acting right, I'm gonna get everyone pissed off. And we're just
Mm-hmm.
gonna turn up and make everything hell for you. So I started a coup, got them all riled up, but I also showed them I was like, look, there's certain things that if you do, they don't have a choice but to let you go because you're showing clear sanity. And so I basically just told them the steps. I was like, look, come to every session with me. They have the art sessions, they have the yoga sessions, they have the meditation sessions. And not only were they able to leave, not only did I see my peers leave, eventually they were able to get out, some of them earlier than expected. Some of them were finally able to get out after being there for forever. I literally saw them heal. I literally watched them heal. And I was like, because it's this simple. They're supposed to have these resources. The resources I gave them are the resources that were put in place for them in the first place, but
Yeah.
they were withheld
Yeah.
for money.
Yeah.
So it's not like the understanding and the need for structure and resource it's not like it's not there. It's that they're withholding it.
Mm-hmm.
We have these things in place already. They strategically sabotage us for control. It's crazy. It's crazy. But I will say, regardless of if you're the person in power or the person in the situation, you can advocate. I'm going to always encourage people to advocate. If they have it in them, if they have that fire, advocate, even if you're the one shackled. It's
Yeah.
even more powerful that way.
Yeah. And you even speaking about this is just bringing me back to the times where I really try to fight for not only myself, but the other people that were in that place in the shelter. And it was really unfortunate because
Yeah.
I had felt like everything was put up against me. I had tried to advocate in terms of speaking up about the fact that I was trying to advocate for the conditions inside of the first shelter. It was a South Central shelter. They're called Volunteers of America. And that was the worst shelter I have ever been in. And the place was absolutely filthy. filthy, filthy, filthy. And they did not pass code. They haven't even had a code inspection. I looked them up online to look for the code inspection, and there was none made. And so then I had reported it to the program manager, and she had explicitly tried to tell me that I didn't know what I was talking about. She said that there was no mold in the building, that I don't even know what mold is. And I was like,
What?
yes, I do. I do know what mold is. I'm actually very, very seasoned in science and in microbiology. And I know what mold is, and mold spores will spread everywhere. And I have no idea how much more mold was in that building, but there was mold. It was filthy. It barely got cleaned by the actual janitor because the janitor was a lazy ass. And the lady was trying to tell me, she was like, oh, well, we'll get it taken care of. Then, not even, I would say, 2 weeks after I had made that report, because I was wondering when they're going to clean this fucking place, like
Yeah.
actually clean it. They
Yeah.
had people hired under their own organization so that they could go behind the radar and avoid having to talk to code, because I didn't know. For me, I was terrified to call code or call somebody because I was like, I know this building is going to get shut down. And then what
Yeah.
happens to everybody else that's in this building? I didn't have no lawyer or no legal advice in how to
Wow.
navigate the situation. And I had spoken up. I'm like, how do I
Wow.
navigate this situation? And I'm gonna finish the sanitization part before I go on to the lawyer part. But basically,
Mm.
they had people within their own organization power wash with a hose. And they didn't even have a hose. They had to go get a hose so they could power wash the place. And then they wiped it down with bleach or something, and they did put mold treatment, and that's it. They did not scrub. They did not go deep in with some heat or something. You know how you're supposed to actually sanitize a building that fucking dirty, because after the team had left, there were still stains. It wasn't
Yeah.
as dirty, but there were still stains, and it looked like they literally just washed it with water. I was so furious about it because I was just like, obviously, you guys are not taking this fucking seriously, and obviously, you guys think that I'm stupid. And unfortunately, I didn't know how to advocate for myself and protect the rest of my peers there because
Yeah.
no one was speaking up. No one at
Yeah.
all, because the program manager was literally berating everybody else, telling them, well, you're not supposed to even be in here. Y'all over here trying to have friends. Y'all trying to have a good time and shit. Y'all are supposed to leave and supposed to get jobs and get your money and go. Like, why are y'all trying to, like, no, you're
Whoa.
supposed to leave. Like, but
Whoa.
they don't actually provide you a conducive environment in order to get yourself together to leave.
Right.
So after I had left that shelter, which it took me a lot to leave that shelter. First of all, I was there for 5 months, way longer than I actually wanted to be there. But
Yeah.
being there felt like it was a hell loop for real, because every time I went in there, I have felt the energy literally be drained from me. Every time I left the shelter, I would be happy, uplifted. I had a smile on my face. But every time I went back, it was just like really doom and gloom. And
Yeah.
what I was never even told was the fact that I could do a safety transfer. It took me going all the way up to Hollywood to go check out the other shelters that they had, that I was told they were much better. And I went to the LGBT center in Hollywood, and I asked them, I said, "Hey, I'm trying to get the fuck out of this shelter because they doing some illegal stuff in there and I don't know how to advocate for myself." And they had to tell me that I could do a safety transfer. And I was like, nobody ever told me that." And
Wow.
I had dealt with not
Wow.
only three different roommates below my bunk, because it's two bunks side by side in a little cubicle.
Hmm.
Three different roommates having arguments and threatening me and also trying to fight me. They didn't actually put their hands on me, but they wanted to, and they would exclaim that they would inside and outside of the facility, for
Yeah.
me to realize, like, oh, maybe this is not safe. Like, maybe I should actually leave, because not only were the reports that I made were delayed and they were taking their sweet time, and sometimes they didn't even document it, but it took like the last lady that had threatened me and had tried to fight me and also was making disturbances for the entire time that she was there. And mind you, they didn't do shit about it until it was like, oh, now she's actually threatening to burn my shit outside. And then maybe they should actually, do something about it because she's over here
Right.
screaming and yelling every single morning about some
Right.
stupid shit. That's when they
Right.
started taking it seriously. But it took like her, like 3, 4 weeks of her doing the same stuff over and over again for them to actually take action upon it because they were supposed to right away because it's
Yeah.
in the rules, but they don't
Right.
even follow the rules, but they expect us
No.
to follow the rules.
Yeah.
So basically, after I put in the safety transfer, because there was also stuff happening outside of the shelter, mind you, this is in South Central LA, the most dangerous place in
Yeah.
LA. They have
Yeah.
gangs, they have, murderers, they have pimps, they have all that shit. And I was around all that shit. And I was just trying to like basically be, submissive in having fawn techniques because of the trauma that I've been through just to get through it. But in
Yeah.
reality, I
Yeah.
really just wanted to tell them niggas off, but I didn't know what was gonna
That's
happen.
right. Yeah.
So after I put the safety transfer in, then they were already like, oh, okay, we're gonna get you out in 2 days. I'm like, what? 2 days? I'm like, I could have done this whole
Right.
time.
Like it was that simple, but they don't want
Literally.
eat. They don't want us to have ease.
No, they was having fun seeing me suffer in there because they knew
Yeah.
my ass didn't belong there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not to mention the male staff in there too, and I had to report them. Were
Mm.
also trying to see me outside of the shelter, trying to talk to me, trying to have me move in their house, trying to have dinner with me. And one of the
What?
residents in my cubicle was telling me, you should go on a date with him. He wants to go on a date with you. He has lots of money. You should go with him.
Now you want to help her, bro? Because get her out of here faster. Who want to help her, bro? Yeah, he's gonna help. Get you out of here faster. You ask for help, we got you.
Yeah, and if you break my
Yes,
shit, I'ma sue you.
Now you just asked for help.
Sir,
Now you go. Well,
I
sue
don't,
me.
I don't
Sue
care.
me.
Not you.
Oh, okay, well just let's go.
Yeah.
He got your stuff.
I
Come
just,
on.
whatever. I don't care right now. Call LAPD.
Well, LAPD got better things to do, man.
I'm gonna call them myself.
That's fine. Well, let's call him
Bro,
outside.
please let me focus. Thank you, so I can move faster.
You
Thank
took
you.
your medicine today?
I don't take medicine. You do.
Oh, okay, I'm just checking because you
Bro,
might need
please be
some.
quiet down. Some people
You need
cannot.
Jesus, fam.
I don't need
I'ma
Jesus.
pray
I need
for
to
you.
focus.
I'ma
That's what I
pray
need.
for you, fam.
Don't pray for yourself.
I'm
Be
going to get
quiet.
breakfast. I don't know what.
Please
You
be
telling
quiet.
everybody to be
Please.
quiet and stuff.
Because some
You need
people
something else to help.
cannot do two things at once.
Okay, do you need something
I'm
else for him
telling
to
you,
grab?
I can't do two
Do you
things
need
at
some?
once. No, I need you to be quiet.
I need you
Shit.
to back up from me.
You back up.
You put your hands
You
on
back-
me. I swear to God,
Why
I'm
would I
not
do
the
that?
one
I
to
swear
play
to God.
with.
I swear to God.
I'm
Shut
not
your
the
mouth.
one to play
I
with.
don't care.
You gonna grab your things
You
and you
gonna
gonna get
base
up
me?
out of it. No, because you just threw your hands at me.
No, I didn't.
Grab your stuff and let's go. You got one more minute.
Put a zipper down.
Grab it. Don't worry about my zipper.
zip it
My
up.
zipper's not down, but don't worry about what my zipper doing. You worry about your clothes.
You guys are
My
dumb.
zipper all the way up and she come on my damn
It
zipper.
looked down.
Well, don't worry about what it looked
Or
like.
lose some weight.
That's fine. Sweetheart, I got
I'm not
plenty
your
of women. Don't worry
sweetheart.
about
I'm
what I
not your
do.
sweetheart, bro.
I wouldn't look your
I'm
way
not
if
your
you paid.
sweetheart. He gay.
Yeah, we know he gay. I'm a
He is
fact.
gay.
We all
and I
told
ain't
her.
nothing wrong with gays.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing wrong with them. I got a lot of gay friends.
You see this $2 coat she talking to, bro?
No, gay look.
Bro, you don't give your grandma
Gay me
back her
happy.
leather jacket?
Gay me happy.
Are you serious? Yeah, man, you
Trying to
know.
clown me. I don't care.
That's
Call
not-
LAPD.
She the one that talk.
Look,
you talk to
ain't
us?
nothing wrong with gay. Ain't nothing
Yeah.
wrong with
Come on,
transgender.
ma'am. Yeah.
You are bad. You evil.
Ma'am,
Sir,
yes, you is.
come on, you
Grab
must-
your stuff. You can't do two things at once.
Dad,
You
be
said.
quiet.
So grab your stuff.
Like, I'm telling you, girl, you want to get out of here. He has a house for you. I'm like, girl, what are you talking
Yeah.
about? He's 45 years old.
Yeah. Mm-mm.
And then when I left the shelter, I had immediately tried to get legal assistance for the people that were still there because I was like, I cannot leave them there. Then they tell me I had to wait a whole week to get any legal assistance or get in contact with a lawyer because that's how the process goes. And then when I actually had a conversation with the lawyer, she was like, well, if you have this document and this document, then we can go ahead and I can help you. And because I didn't have the original documentation of when I entered that shelter, I couldn't get help because she said there's no proof. There's no concrete documentation that I can utilize for your case, so I cannot. help you. And I try to ask my caseworker to give me the documentation. And of course, her ass was not going to give it to me, even though she said she was. And they couldn't force it because it was a whole different organization. So
Yeah.
I literally had to let it go. And I still feel guilty about that shit to this day.
Wow. Wow. And they're not held accountable either.
No, I
They're
don't
not
think
held
anything ever
accountable.
happened.
No.
And that
That's
still
how,
breaks my heart.
because it's still going. It's still going. That's how
Yeah.
I feel about the psych ward I was in. And so people listening can know it's Interfaith Hospital in Crown Heights.
Yeah. That's
They're
why you
these
got to talk about it.
hmm Amen to that, because the thing is, I believe in making a difference. Stagnation from other people is never something that's ever stopped me. But I do think it's necessary to comment on the fact that there are certain structures and systems that can't be stopped by one person.
Yeah. And if
And
I
that,
was
and
the only one trying to fight, then it's only so
exactly,
much.
exactly. And like, even though in the psych ward, I wasn't the only one fighting in the psych ward, I was the only one that was willing to fight afterwards, because a lot of my peers were elders, or they were significantly younger than me, and maybe there were two people that were close to my age,
Mm-hmm.
but they were kind of impartial, you know.
Yeah. I
So like